Bruh. Tell me I didn't see what I just saw. Tell me I didn't see what I just saw. Please tell me I didn't see what I just saw. Yeah, it's cooked. It's cooked. It's over, bro. They're crazy. They are crazy. $2.4 million. $2.4 million. I think y'all worth 2.4 right now. This is crazy. This is crazy that the owners offered y'all a deal that 5 years from now, the max y'all will be getting 2.4, possibly even
$2.4 million. That's the maximum salary the WNBA owners put on the table. And the Players Association didn't respond with, "Let's review it," or "We need more time to negotiate." They responded with a flat, immediate no.
So we know that there was a three-hour-long meeting yesterday where the players thought the WNBA was going to give them some whopping offer, just a whopping of a deal. WNBA owners didn't offer them a damn thing. They told them to hit the bricks. Your main people didn't even show up. We'll get back.
Put that number in perspective. The current maximum WNBA salary is about $250,000. The owner's proposal would raise that nearly tenfold within 5 years, and the union still dismissed it as not enough. That's why this moment matters. Not as a headline, but as a turning point that could shape the next decade of women's professional basketball. Here's the uncomfortable truth at the center of these negotiations. Much of what the league is offering right now is driven by the impact of one player. When Caitlin Clark was injured last season, viewership didn't dip slightly. It dropped by 55%. Not 15, not 25, 55. That's not normal volatility. That's a warning sign. Yet the Players Association is negotiating as if this growth is permanent and guaranteed, as if it belongs equally to the entire roster regardless of who's playing or who's healthy. They're treating this surge as structural when the data suggests it's fragile, tied directly to star power that doesn't automatically carry over to every game, every market, or every player.
Adding to Alexa Philippou's recap from yesterday, ESPN has obtained some information that was presented to players at yesterday's meeting, summarizing the WNBA's current positions. Let's get into it. Here it says, WNBA CBA proposal. The goal is a win-win for the CBA, win-win CBA. Substantially increase player salaries to reflect recent and future business growth, promote business health and profitability, maintain incentives for team and league investment. So that third part, you can't maintain incentive for people to invest if...
The most revealing part of yesterday's meeting wasn't the headline salary number. It was the structure behind it. The owners didn't show up with a soundbite and a handshake. They came with a step-by-step plan, a ladder that moves the league from survival wages to real professional money over the life of the agreement. This wasn't designed to make a few stars richer. It was built to lift the middle of the roster, the players stuck between the league's marketing image and its financial reality. Those players were projected to see the biggest gains. That's why the proposal mattered. It wasn't a one-time raise. It was a new baseline with a clear path towards salary numbers that once sounded impossible in the WNBA. And there's a part many people keep skipping. The offer wasn't just about paychecks. It went after the daily grind that's been wearing players down for years. Travel schedules that make recovery meaningless, roster rules that turn draft night into a gamble, and the constant pressure to play overseas because a rookie deal at home isn't enough to build a stable life.
I'm gonna zoom in. All right, right now, this is where they at right now, right? Average player salaries, projected player salaries. Okay, boom, in 2025, prior to the CBA, it was 120 grand, right? Then it would go 540 grand, 780 grand, $1 million, right? Okay, now, this is the Supermax salary. Now, that's with the projections, and if they sign a new CBA, these are the average salaries. So you're looking at $540K.
This package was designed to close those gaps. It promised more reliable air travel throughout the season, better travel conditions to reduce wear and tear, and expanded roster spots, so younger players aren't pushed out before they have a chance to develop. It added stronger pregnancy protections and flexibility, so players aren't forced to choose between their health and their careers. And it pushed for true professional-level staffing, so medical care, rehab, strength training, and nutrition aren't optional based on market size or budget. That's why this offer landed differently. It wasn't just a raise. It was an attempt to professionalize the entire ecosystem around the player, which leads to the real question. If a full league-wide upgrade like this still gets rejected, what exactly is the union aiming for? And how much are they willing to risk to get it?
Y'all worth 2.4 right now? This is crazy. This is crazy that the owners offered y'all a deal that 5 years from now, the max y'all will be getting 2.4, possibly even more. Okay, y'all be getting 1.3 for this season on a max deal, an average salary of $540,000. They said no. 2031, the average salary will be $1 million. The average. Yeah, these crazy. These ladies is Delulu. These ladies are Delulu, man. They've lost it, man. $2.4 million.
The offer didn't stop at travel and roster support. It kept expanding into areas players have been calling basic respect for years. The parts of a career that determine whether you can build real stability, not just survive season to season. Retirement support was included, with higher team contributions designed to make a WNBA career feel like a long-term profession instead of short bursts of income you're forced to stretch over a lifetime. Performance pay was also set to increase, with larger bonuses tied to awards, milestones, and postseason success, rewarding impact and winning without flattening everyone into the same number. Then there was the medical side, where the fine print matters. The proposal extended benefits for players waived later in the season, closing a gap that currently leaves some exposed the moment a roster move is made. It also addressed a reality the league rarely says out loud. Many players are balancing elite performance with motherhood. The framework made it easier for children and caregivers to travel with teams, with extra rooms covered so the burden doesn't fall entirely on the player. There were quality of life changes too, signals of a cultural shift, not just a financial one. Expanded access perks, league services, updated policies like ending marijuana testing in favor of treatment-focused programs, and looser restrictions on endorsements and investments, including categories that were once automatic red lines. That's why calling this a simple pay dispute misses the point. This was a full benefits rebuild, meant to modernize how the league treats its players. But here's where the union's position starts to look shaky. The owners weren't just offering higher salaries. They were protecting the idea of continued investment. And without sustained investment from teams and the league, none of this growth is possible in the first place.
Upward salary adjustments, which means they would make adjustments to the salaries that rookies are on so they can get more money. Like, it's a win around the board, man. It's a win around the board. Team charter travel, preseason, regular season, and postseason games, first class travel in and out of team market, higher annual salary, more allowable guaranteed contracts per team, additional categories of salary protection, 2 new development player rosters. So they were going to add 2 roster spots for
growth. Can't sustain itself on belief alone. At some point, promises stop being numbers on paper and start becoming liabilities someone has to cover. The WNBA has spent most of its existence operating at a loss, with the NBA absorbing the difference. The recent surge in attention and revenue created a rare window, an opportunity for the league to move closer to standing on its own. And that's where the tension in these negotiations really lives. How do you push compensation and benefits higher while preserving enough incentive for owners to keep building, spending, and taking the long view? Here's the leverage problem hiding underneath the slogans. If players push for a revenue split the league can't yet support, the money doesn't magically appear. It shows up as red ink. And once the books slide into sustained deficit territory, everything that depends on confidence and growth begins to freeze. Expansion becomes harder to justify. Facility upgrades get delayed. Long-term investments get shelved. Teams stop taking chances on player development and staffing, because every extra dollar becomes a debate instead of a plan. The trajectory fans assume is inevitable. More teams, better arenas, bigger marketing, deeper rosters, slows the moment ownership starts viewing the league as a cost center again instead of a growth engine. That's why the dynamics of the meeting mattered so much. The union arrived expecting momentum and pressure to force movement. The kind of room where owners blink after hours of direct negotiation. Instead, the message was procedural and firm. The proposal didn't evolve in real time. It was presented as a finished product, and the people with the actual authority to change it weren't even in the room. That silence says a lot. It says the league doesn't believe it needs to bid against itself. It says the owners are willing to let the standoff stretch rather than set a precedent that every spike in attention must immediately convert into a permanent. It feels fair on paper, but it can undermine the very investment engine required to reach that mature stage in the first place. That's why this argument isn't really about fairness alone. It's about timing and structure. Do you take a deal that dramatically raises the floor right now while keeping incentives intact for owners to keep investing? Or do you gamble on a partnership model that may work later but risks destabilizing the growth curve if it's forced too early? This is the point where the debate stops being emotional and starts becoming arithmetic. The recent surge is real, but the league is still fragile. You're putting your finger on the real fault line here, and it's the one neither side wants to say plainly because it sounds uncomfortable in public. Here's a tightened continuation that keeps your framing and lands the two truths problem clearly. But the counterpoint is this. If the WNBA were already quietly printing money, you would see in market behavior. You'd see franchise valuations exploding uniformly. Expansion fees would be skyrocketing. You'd see investors lining up willing to overpay just to get a seat at the table. Some of that has started to happen, with team values rising sharply in recent estimates. But that's still a story about future expectations, not proof of present-day profitability. So the fight isn't really about whether players deserve a bigger share. That question is largely settled in the court of public opinion. The real argument is about timing. When can a league afford to promise that share without slowing the very investment cycle that's supposed to turn this moment into a stable era instead of a temporary spike? And there's one variable neither side wants to say out loud, even though both are clearly building their strategy around it. The recent surge is not evenly distributed. One player has become the gravitational center of national attention. The ratings lift, the casual fan curiosity, the ticket demand, the viral clips that travel far outside the league's existing fan base. When she's on the floor and in a clean broadcast window, the audience rises. When she's injured, resting, or buried in a slot casual fans don't follow, the floor drops fast. That doesn't mean other players aren't elite. It doesn't mean the league lacks depth or quality. It means the market is behaving the way sports markets almost always behave. Star-driven demand is real, and it concentrates. That concentration creates a messy negotiation problem because it forces everyone to argue two truths at the same time.